Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for my top 10 comic books of the week. That's right everybody, thanks for checking out the video. I am Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for my top 10 comic books of the week video. This is the video where I list my top 10 comic books of the week, top 10 favorite comic books. This is a personal thing. And then in the comments below, please let me know what your favorite comic books were of the week. Let's get this conversation going. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups. We're about to get right on through it. But before we do that, I got to give a big shout out to David Hatch and Alex Inkster over at our Patreon page, patreon.com/PCP, where they, and amongst others, unlock exclusive content, early access, things like that. In fact, they get exclusive content to a downloadable audio file of the weekly comic book review hours before it's released here on YouTube, and that's a Patreon exclusive. You can unlock that for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/PCP. Now let's get into the top 10. At number 10, we've got Going to the Chapel, number 4, from Action Lab Comics, written by David Pepose with artwork by Gavin Guidry. Going to the Chapel is an exciting, very fun, vibrant, humorous, and action-packed book, and this is its conclusion. It's a very satisfying conclusion. David Pepose has really put together a very, very briskly paced script that's just absolutely nothing is wasted as far as action and dialogue and stuff like that, right? Then you got Guidry's pencils in there. He really helps bring that story to life. This is basically Die Hard at a wedding. Wedding Crashers meets a Tarantino film. It's really, really great. It's got a lot of heart to it. It's got a lot of meaning. But like I said, it's also humorous. It's got a lot of fun action and adventure in it as well. Really did like it. It's begging, aching to be translated to the small screen or the big screen or something like that. I'd love to see a movie based on Going to the Chapel. This was an excellent concept with excellent characters. It was very masterfully done by the creative team, especially the coloring and lettering. Loved it. Fantastic stuff. Made number 10. At number 9, we've got Joker Harley, Criminal Sanity, number 3, from DC Black Label, written by Cami Garcia, with artwork by Miko Suawan and Jason Badawer. Joker Harley Criminal Sanity, for me, has been one of the highlights of the DC Black Label line. Issue number 3, though, does take a dip in quality, mostly because they have switched over the artwork from Mike Mayhew to Jason Badawer. And nothing's wrong with Badawer's artwork. It's really good for what it is. However, it doesn't have that photorealism that we're used to with the Mike Mayhew stuff. So it kind of stunts it just a little bit as far as the flow goes. Story stays right on there. One of my favorite interpretations of Harley Quinn. An interesting interpretation of the Joker that I'm down for right now, even though if you would have showed me this on paper somewhere, I would have been like, that seems silly. But when you read it, I really do like it. It's kind of like David Fincher's Seven meets Joker and Harley, and I really liked it. There's no romance. There's no relationship like that. She's a police profiler, serial killer profiler, I should say, and so the Joker's a serial killer that struck in Gotham years ago, never was caught, now he's back. So they got to bring Harley back, and we're going to figure it out, right? Love this book, love the artistic approach. Really do hate that they changed the art. The art's not bad, but it's not what we're used to, and I really think that photorealistic art from Mike Mayhew, along with Miko Suawan's artwork, really helped sell this book and made it really stand out far and above than just a typical crime fiction book. But it's a really cool book. It handles that genre very well, and it does so with characters in a new light, with new spins, and it does it pretty well. Cami Garcia does a great job with these characters, and like I said, very Seven-like. The overall sadistic plots of the Joker's killing start coming into view in this issue, and I just really like it. If you like true crime serial killer type stuff, check out Joker Harley Criminal Sanity. At number 8, we've got Daredevil number 17 from Marvel Comics, written by Chip Zdarsky with artwork by Jorge Fornes. Daredevil continues to be one of Marvel's best comic books, hands down. Fantastic stuff. Chip Zdarsky understands the legacy of these characters at Marvel, whether it's the Fantastic Four characters that he writes, and he actually wrote them this week. Maybe we'll talk about that in a minute. But Daredevil, he completely understands. I think Daredevil's a great character, been one of the most consistent characters as far as Marvel runs go over the last 20 to 30 years, I would say. But that's just me. I mean, starting with Kevin Smith, it kind of, I mean, you got some moments here and there, like, you know, the Andy Diggle run. But for most of the time, Daredevil's pretty solid, and it's a tough legacy to live up to. Chip Zdarsky does it elegantly, and so along with Jorge Fornes, joined by Nolan Woodard here on the coloring. The artwork's fantastic. It's reminiscent of something like David Mazzucchelli's Born Again with Frank Miller. Really like that stuff. I love Fornes' artwork. It's really cool and exciting to see him come into the books that I kind of wanted him to be on, Batman and Daredevil and stuff like that, right? So the book is fantastic. It's great. All these different threads that Chip Zdarsky's been laying down ever since issue number 1, it's all starting to come together. It's all heating up, ramping up, and that momentum just keeps building. That tension keeps building, and this book keeps maintaining as being one of the best books on shelves from Marvel. At number 7, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, number 3, written by Ryan Parrott with artwork by Simone D'Amelio. Power Rangers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I'm sold already. Huge fan of the Rangers, huge fan of the Turtles. I mean, I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s. It was right there. I was primed for it. This is a very, very fun and boisterous crossover. It's very colorful, very dynamic. It's got great kinetically charged artwork, very vibrant, fluorescent colors. They just pop off the page. The action, the characters, that all just leaps off the page. Everything about it is perfect. I've been singing the praises of the Power Rangers comics for the last year now. Ryan Parrott's been doing exceptional work, pretty much crafting the best take of the Power Rangers ever, including any form of, media. Like, absolutely love it. You add in the Turtles, he understands that too. You got fun mashups going on. Shredder, Green Ranger power. What? Great stuff. Great use of the characters. Great use of the just kinetic action. It makes it very explosive, and it's one of the best superhero comics on shelves this week. At number 6, Ant-Man, number 1, from Marvel Comics, written by Zeb Wells with artwork by Dylan Burnett. So this starts a 5-issue miniseries focusing on the Scott Lang Ant-Man, who we will recently know from the Paul Rudd movies, of course. Ant-Man's a great character. I'm a huge fan of Scott Lang. There was a tiny little bit in Fantastic Four right after Rita died, after issue like 381 or something like that, where Ant-Man, Scott Lang, kind of joined the team. So ever since then, I've been fascinated with this character. And then you add in the Paul Rudd approach of the movies. The character's a little bit more goofy, a little bit more, a little bit more like loser-esque. He can't quite get a job going. He can't really kind of fit in with the rest of the superhero community. And Zeb Wells uses both of these versions, like the classic Scott Lang and this new version, this Neo Scott Lang, and is able to handle it very, very well. You got the relationship with Cassie in there. It's endearing. The lovable loser aspect to Ant-Man is great. Some fun moments, really funny moments. Ant Dirt is not man dirt. That cracked me up so much. I loved it. I like this character. I think this is going to be a really fun 5-issue miniseries. If you're interested in Ant-Man whatsoever, here you go. You don't always have an Ant-Man book. You rarely do. So when you have them, you got to enjoy them. And this is one of the better ones in recent years. And number 5, The Man Who Effed Up Time from Aftershock Comics, written by John Layman with artwork by Carl Mostert. The Man Who Effed Up Time was so much fun. It was absurd. It was ludicrous. It was ridiculous. It was so much fun, and it's colorful, and it's got great artwork with interesting perspectives and interesting takes on figure drawings and stuff like that. Absolutely love this book. The basic premise, this dude has access to a time machine. Hey, let me go back in time 1 week and just change a few things, make my life a little bit better. He comes back to the present day, everything's messed up. This is about the man who effed up time. It's written by John Layman, so of course it's going to kind of have a very fun, bouncy, and buoyant approach to it. A little bit of absurdity, a little bit of ridiculousness, but so much fun and an interesting concept. This book delivered. I absolutely loved it. This was one of the most fun rides for me of the week. I highly enjoyed it, and I have my theories about what's been going on in the book. It's really interesting. I absolutely love it, but seriously, he goes back in time like 1 week, comes back, and now there's like dinosaurs and a reign of Abe Lincoln descendants ruling the Americas. What? 1 week? So much fun, so much absurdity. It's Layman, and it's fantastic. At number 4, we've got Backtrack, number 1, from Oni Press, written by Brian Joines with artwork by Jake Elphick. Backtrack was a big surprise for me. It wasn't on my radar whatsoever. Oni Press, they don't really pump out a lot of indie content anymore. So when they have something that hits me really strong, it really just takes me back to the days in the 90s and the early 2000s and stuff, in the days of like Queen and Country and the Clerks comics and stuff like that. Really, really miss the Oni of the past. This kind of brings me back to that just a little bit, but it's a very fun, high-octane action book. This was really, really fun. It's basically about this dude who captures all these famous drivers up, or underworld drivers, right? And he tells them that they're all going to have a race, right? Maybe there's some kind of grand prize or something like that, right? And so, but the race, they don't realize until it happens, it's a race through time. So different time eras and all kinds of fun stuff. It's got dinosaurs, so yet another time travel-oriented book. But this one handled itself very well. The artwork was awesome. The high energy of those racing cars, you can really feel it. You can hear it. Everything about this book really helped to raise that energy and that excitement, that exhilaration, right? It really captures that very, very well. The characters are instantly compelling, relatable, and engaging. I absolutely loved it. Love the artwork. It's textured. It's a little bit on the rough side, but it's super speedy when it needs to be, and it slows down at the right delicate moments. I loved it. Backtrack's going to be your sleeper hit of the week. You might have to ask for it, might have to beg for it. Get it digitally if you have to. It's really good, and I think it deserves a highlight. At number 3, we have Crowded, number 11, from Image Comics, written by Christopher Sabella, with artwork by Rose Stein and Ted Brandt. Crowded is such a fun, dynamic, energetic book, and it's maintained this momentum since issue number 1. Christopher Sabella has created an interesting concept and an interesting world. In the not-too-distant future, you can now crowdfund assassinations. And so this one woman named Charlie all of a sudden gets an assassination put on her, and it keeps getting people adding to the amount, and it hits an insane amount. So now she has to go to another app and hire a bodyguard, Vita. So Vita, Charlie, they're like the odd couple. It's super fun. It's rambunctious. It's a great book. It's so much fun. And now that they're on the run from pretty much anybody, because if you kill this woman, then all of a sudden you're going to get all this money. So everybody's after them. They're always on the run. It's got a lot of energy. Christopher Sabella handles dialogue fluidly. It's great. It just glides across the page. You may look at a page and say, hey, that looks a little wordy. Trust me, it's going to present itself like that. But when you're reading it, it flows so excellently well. The artwork by Stein and Brandt, fantastic, very expressive, very kinetic and dynamic when it needs to be. It's very colorful. Triana Farrell, amazing colors on this book. The lettering, everything works in concert. If one piece was missing, it would fall apart. But this book is so strong, maintains that for 11 issues, and this may be one of the best issues yet. In this issue, Vita and Charlie are now holding up in a cult, and it's really, really fun. Some great explorations there, some great character moments, and the tension that keeps building. It's like Sam and Diane on the run. I loved it so much. Crowded, number 11. At number 2, we've got X-Men Fantastic Four, number 1, from Marvel Comics, written by Chip Zdarsky with artwork by Terry Dotson. This book was a blast. I'm a huge Fantastic Four fan. Huge, right? And I'm a huge Chip Zdarsky fan. And Chip Zdarsky, as I said when we were talking about Daredevil, really understands Marvel, their characters, and their legacy. And that's really prevalent on his Fantastic Four work. Before this, he worked on Marvel 2-in-1, a great spotlight on Ben Grimm and Johnny Storm, and even Victor Von Doom. He really understands those characters. When you get here, he understands Reed Richards, and he understands Franklin Richards. X-Men stuff's been amazing right now. Hickman's really game-changed the X-Men universe. Everything's completely different. It's exciting. It's all new again. It's all fresh. And so you add that in, have the Fantastic Four meet the X-Men again, because, and remember at the beginning of House of X, they were like, hey, Franklin, you're a mutant. When you're ready, we got a home for you. Well, now they're coming after Franklin. And man, this book is so centered on Franklin Richards and what he's going through right now because his powers are diminishing. It's so fantastically well done. The artwork's pretty decent. I'm not typically the biggest Dotson fan. It's serviceable, but even for Dotson, it's really kind of rushed in places. It's not quite so perfect and pristine. However, it gets the job done, and it does a job very, very well. But the characterization of Reed, of Franklin, of Charles, Chip understands this. He even can plug into this new Hickman X universe and play with those characters and make it work. This was a great book. The personalities, the way they clash, the way they come up against each other, it's great. I love the allusions to the 80s X-Men versus Fantastic Four. That was one of my favorites growing up. Love that issue where like Franklin's like crying, you know, with the, yeah, right? Fun stuff. They reference that in this, and I really do appreciate that. Chip Zdarsky and company doing a fantastic job. This is a great book. The first 4 issues out this week. X-Men Fantastic Four. And at number 1, Gideon Falls number 21. Written by Jeff Lemire with artwork by Andrea Sorrentino and Dave Stewart. It's no secret, Gideon Falls is one of my absolute favorite comic books on shelves, period. Has been for the last 2 years. Doesn't seem like that's going to let up in 2020, and I'm super stoked. This was a great issue of Gideon Falls. Sometimes we talk about how innovative this book is, how experimental the book is, how amazing the colors and the composition and everything about it is, the nuance in the story, the unfolding mystery that develops further and further into mystery. And then you have an issue like this that's still just as mysterious and innovative and experimental and truly captivating and scary, but also just action-packed. Jim Mint said that. It was action-packed. He is not kidding. You have some great stuff happening in here, some gross stuff happening in here, some chilling stuff. This book has always been top-notch, one of the best on shelves. It's always pretty much a 5-star book, or around here we say ya digs. It's always a 5 ya digs book for me. Gideon Falls is my absolute favorite. Sorrentino's artwork, oh my goodness, the composition, the innovation, it's so amazing. I love this book so much. And I've had some comments of people saying, you know, I couldn't quite get into it. It's hard to go issue to issue. They happen so fast, and that's true. The issues go by so fast, and they're so captivating. But you could make it last longer by just dwelling a little bit longer on those pages. And if you did that, some of those really creepy moments would really be extended out further. That's why I would recommend that. The best way to do that for me is in trade paperback. This is a great book to trade weight, but I can't trade weight this book because I got to have every single issue, because each single issue is seriously not just story-wise exciting and awesome, but seriously, technically, one of the best comic books out there. You got 3 of the best creators out there right now doing some of their best work I have ever seen. Dave Stewart, Sorrentino, and Jeff Lemire. Jeff Lemire's on fire. Dave Stewart's been one of the best colorists for a long time now. How many Eisners does this cat have? Anyway, I don't need to keep telling you how great Gideon Falls is, because once you read it, you're going to understand. And if the books do happen too quick for you, and it's hard to stay plugged into the overall mysterious narrative, the trade paperbacks are the way to go. I'll throw some links down below in the description where you can get them at a great price and help support PCP at the same time if you want to check them out. Me personally, I've got the issues and I've got the trades, and I'm really geared up for when they start doing hardcovers, deluxe editions. You know they're coming, and I'm super excited. Gideon Falls is one of the best books for 2 years running, and it's not going to change. This book is amazing, and every new comic book day that has an issue of Gideon Falls is an exceptional new comic book day. So that's my top 10. What's your top 10? What's your top 5? What's your top 3? What's your top 80? I don't care. Let us know what comic books you're loving, what you're digging. Let us know in the comments down below. Let's keep this conversation going. Thanks so much for checking out the video. Please do like, share, and subscribe. And join us over at popculturephilosophers.com for podcasts and a whole lot more. I've been Rockin Robbie Billups. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep on reading.